Hey y'all, you want to set your child up for success? Is your child struggling with a specific subject or need help with the subject? Is your child ahead, not getting challenged enough in class? Well, IXL Learning is an online learning program that enriches your homeschool curriculum. It offers practice in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies while adapting to each child, meeting them where they are. Plus, IXL encourages students to become curious and empowers them to choose how to learn. Look, we homeschool our son. No doubt about it. He's more of a visual learner, and we use IXL, and Cindy teaches him, and there are so many different benefits to the program. It adapts to exactly what he needs in different areas. So IXL is the perfect supplement to your homeschool curriculum. IXL offers interactive practice problems, educational games, lessons, and video tutorials for every topic you're teaching at home. It's easy to use, time-saving. Everything on IXL is organized by grade, subject, topic, and subtopic, making it simple to find activities for the exact skills you're covering. IXL offers instant feedback and explanations of new topics as kids use the program. Kids can explore any topic in any grade level. They aren't forced into a single learning path like they are on other programs. If you're homeschooling your child because they were falling behind or because they were too far ahead like our son, IXL is a great program to help them get the exact support they need. Kids love IXL's positive feedback awards and educational games. IXL is trusted by 15 million students worldwide and has proven to improve performance in over 75 scientific research studies. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Real Life Real Crime listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/today. Visit IXL.com/today to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. And don't forget, Real Life Real Crime listeners get 20% off. Y'all, we really do use this product, and it's been a godsend.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney prior to and during any questioning. You can't afford one, a court will appoint one for you. You understand your rights?
Your crime spree was over, son. Yeah, you thought you had it licked, but Hitman and Overton made your sugar turn to shit. Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Warning. Each episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, will contain descriptions of acts of violence or of a sexual nature and are for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off the internet or from some television show. These facts I'm retelling were presented to me by the victims of the crime or the perpetrators who committed the crimes. My descriptions of the crime scenes are what I saw with my own two eyes. If you are going to get offended, turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton, and my co-host, Jim, the Hitman Raffman. What's up, Jim?
What's going on, Woody?
All right, man. You doing all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Real good.
All right, y'all. So, real quick before we get to today's episode, some lifers sent us some really great constructive criticism on not talking too much before the episode and putting their chatter at the end. So we're going to do that, and we understand that, and we appreciate your feedback. So that being said, I want to talk about one thing that's important to us before we begin. Today, they're going to be burying one of our own, a lifer and a dear friend to us, Carly Ann McCord, who is one of the victims of the plane crash last week in Lafayette, Louisiana. I first met Carly during the Courtney Coco investigation. She messaged me, and we talked on the phone. The first time, Jim, it was like 2 hours. We talked. We're like old dear friends, and she was just.
Oh, I remember.
She's just was a force of life. But she went to Northwestern. That's where she graduated from, which is the same school Courtney went to, and she was like 3 years behind Courtney, but she was into broadcast journalism. She had a radio career and TV career, and in the end, she was the Saints and a reporter in New Orleans. But she had done some work for ESPN, et cetera. But she's just a wonderful person, and she took us in. She gave us some great advice. She gave us some help on the Coco case, which was immeasurable. She gave us some contacts in the business, and she didn't have to do this. She did it just because she was in love. And her and my wife became fast friends. They both teach kids in China English over the internet. I mean, Carly Ann did it all, right? And kind of like my wife does also, but and she, about a month before she died, it was my second oldest daughter's birthday, and she got him courtside at a Pelicans game in New Orleans, and took a picture with them, which that picture means a lot to me now. It's just, she didn't have to do all that, but I mean, she was just a friend to us. She promoted us, Chase Tyler Band came to know of us through Carly Ann. I mean, she shared it with them and everybody, and she's just a force of life, man. Jim, did you know she was a national power lifter in high school?
I read that. I did not know
crazy?
That, but I read that. It's crazy.
And of course, she was in beauty pageants and sang and everything else. Just a force of life, man. And her mama, one of the times I talked to her, she was in the car with her mom, and her mom actually taught Ashley Posey from one of our episodes, Hit a Lick, the bad girl from that. And it's just a wonderful person, just 30 years old and so full of life, and just a ball of energy and love. And we're praying I pray for her husband and her family, and all her friends. She's touched so many lives. You see such an outpouring of love for her from everywhere. So I'm going to pray for them. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. I talked with Carly a few times there, and the last just being a few days before the plane crash. It's just such a sad situation, and she's such an angel, and I know she's watching over all her family and her friends, and she will be dearly missed. She had that it factor, everything she did it well, and she just blew everybody away with her sweet soul and incredible mind and beautiful smile. I mean, it was infectious. You couldn't look at her and not smile.
Right.
And I see her husband on the news, and
it's horrible. Man,
the pain and the suffering he's going through. And, if there's anything we can ever do for her family or her friends, we're we're here. One thing I will say is that there is the Carly Ann McCord Scholarship Foundation through the Northwestern University. I believe if I have that right.
That's right.
I think you can search for that. I know it's on Facebook. It's on the internet. If you can and you're in the position to, go ahead and donate to her honor in that scholarship fund for her, because she's touched so many lives.
Yeah.
And I just think it's fitting to be able to get a scholarship fund. And but she'll be dearly missed. Real Life, Real Crime will be contributing to that. Guarantee that.
Absolutely.
And we're here for all her loved ones. Rest in peace, Carly. You will be missed. You'll never be forgotten.
That's right. We love you, sweetie. So tough deal. But just want to, give Carly Ann a shout out. And she took us under her wing, and she didn't have to, and quickly became family, and we'll love and miss her. So with that being
well, we're all under her wing now, because now she's watching over all of us.
That's right. I agree. So, all right, moving on. Today's episode was supposed to be a hotline episode, but we want to kick it off maybe with a little weird story for our listeners, so you don't just have to listen to us answer questions. So we're going to do a story titled "The Witches of the Eastside," and it won't. After that, we're going to take a couple of hotline questions. But y'all need to stay tuned to the very end, because we have a huge announcement about something that's coming up for Real Life, Real Crime. So let's get started. The Witches of the Eastside. In 2001, I was working as a deputy in the Uniform Patrol Division for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office on the night shift. And I was assigned to the east side of the parish. And y'all have heard us talk about in past episodes how Livingston Parish is divided geographically east and west for law enforcement purposes. Now, the east side of the parish is more rural, has a couple small towns, and other than that, everything was spread out, especially back then. It's all grown up now, but back then it was really rural. And we had, at most, we would have 3 deputies assigned to the east side, but most nights it was just 2 of us. And explain about that, why that is.
Well, on the west side, where you have Denham Springs and Walker, it's just so much more. The population is just so much bigger. You have your apartment complexes, your massive neighborhoods, developments. You have shops or shopping centers, restaurants. It's just that city-like environment. So you had to have a lot more deputies to be able to respond to all those calls, because the call volume was just so much more significant on the west side than it was on the east side.
Right.
So you didn't need as many on the east side, but when it was good on the east side, I promise you, it was really good.
Yeah, and the running joke was the difference in the people in the east and the west side. A lot of times on the east side, country people, they just took care of their own business. But if they called you and said there was a 103G in progress, you would get there. You better strap it on, and because when you got there was going to be gunplay, and chances are there'd already be a body on the ground. Whereas on the west side, it was so populated, and if somebody called 911 and it was a 103G or disturbance with a gun, a lot of times you'd get there and there wouldn't even be a gun. It'd be 2 neighbors fighting over their garbage can or something like that, and one of them, might say, "Oh, I'll get a gun," but it's just, I'm not saying it was rougher or whatever. It was just culturally, it was kind of different.
2 different worlds.
Yeah. So on this night, I tell you what happened. You go 10-8 at 6 p.m. Of course, we always came out early to relieve the shift that was on duty. But at 6 p.m., that's your highest call volume time. And you get everybody just getting home from work, and they have burglaries, and, you have traffic accidents and all this different stuff. So a lot of times, but say like between 6 and 11 when the call volume was so high, if the East Side had a third deputy assigned, they would pull them to go work the West Side. And of course, the West Side had more deputies, but they would pull them, because the 911 calls, you got to respond and as quickly as possible, right? But on this particular night, I remember it was really, really cold. First of all, it was this time of the year. It was real cold. And I had arrested somebody. It was probably like 9 o'clock at night. I had arrested somebody and I was just getting to the jail in Livingston. And when you go into the jail, when you bring somebody in under arrest, you have to go through the back gate of the parish prison. They have to open the gate for you, and you come in and they shut the gate behind you. And before you can make entry into the building, you secure your weapon in your unit, or they have what they call a sally port or a man trap. You get to get the bad guy out. You get to the outer exterior door of the prison and they pop it open. You go into this little cubicle, this little entryway, which has glass walls, glass and cement walls. And they had a gun cabinet there that you could store your pistol in if you hadn't done it already. And then you shake down or search your bad guy or girl again right there to make sure they don't have any more contraband. In the control room for the prison, they can see you. There's a hallway in between you and them, and they can see you. And when you're ready, you wave at them, and they buzz you into the interior of the prison. So you can't, no two doors are open at one time, so no bad guy can run away and all that good stuff. Go ahead.
And one more thing about that too, when you go in there and you search them, they've already been searched once when you made the arrest. You're searching them again a second time.
That's right.
In that area.
That's right.
And then you let them know because, hey, people hide stuff, right?
That's right.
Most of the time we can find it all.
Yeah.
But sometimes they put things in places within their body that they really shouldn't insert things.
Right.
And they do. And so you let them know, hey, listen, when we get past the second door here, if you have something on you now's the time to tell us. Because the second we go across the second door here, you have now brought something into a jail.
That's right.
And that's another charge.
That's another charge. Entering
contraband.
contraband.
So that's how that works.
Entering contraband.
So once
go ahead.
Exactly. It's entering contraband. So once they tell you no, you completed your search, you wave, they open up that door and you proceed.
Right. So on this night, I'm in that sally port or man trap, whatever you want to call it. I did my secondary search of my bad guy. Jim, one day we should really do an episode just on the stuff that they've found on people that have brought them inside the jail. But anyway, so once you do that, they buzz you into the hallway and you walk down this hallway and you take a right and then you take a left and there's the booking room and there's a bench and you handcuff your guy to the bench and there's a desk and you sit there and fill out all the paperwork and your probable cause sheet and all that before you turn them over to the jail. Well, I was cuffing my bad guy to the bench, and one of the dispatchers came running out of the control room and said, "Woody, we got shots fired and on the other side of Albany, and John T is the only one that's 10-8, and he's headed up. He was north of Albany at the time. They say, anyway, we need you to roll out. He's got no backup." And so I'm running, right? And I run out and I get in my Crown Vic and I buzz out. I take a left on Highway 63 because it's a straight shot to Highway 190. I mean, no turns through the town of Livingston. And the interstate is just there to your right. I could have got on the interstate and really hauled ass. But when you get off for the Albany exit, it's like 3 miles of turns if you take the interstate. If you take 190, it's 10 miles from the town of Livingston to Albany, straight shot, not a single turn on that highway. So I'm rolling, right? And they had 1033 the net for the John T. I think John T was unit 331 or something like that. But one of the Albany reserve officers or part-time officers, Leon Winstead, who's a beast and I love him to death, but he was a riverboat captain and he would come out and work for Albany on his days off when he was home, not because he needed the money, but because he loved doing police work. So he had heard it on his radio, and he came out to back John T up because he knew John T didn't have any backup other than me, and I was at least 10 minutes or so away. But so I'm rolling down 190 in the fast. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me just pause you 1 second because you had mentioned, I don't know if they're going to know what you mean. 1033. When we say 1033, basically what we're doing is that's for emergency traffic only. So for that officer, the one who's out there at this location, when they 1033, then that's pretty much the only person that's supposed to talk on that radio channel. The reason being is that if he needs more assistance, if he needs an ambulance, if he needs whatever the case is, they need to be able to have that direct line of communication. Are you code 4, which means are you okay? Yeah. Unfortunately, in the law enforcement world, whenever you're in the worst situations ever, some jackass is going to be going through a parking lot, see a vehicle that's been there for 3 days, and want to talk on it for 2 minutes about the license plate, the description, when you're in like the most critical situation you've got.
Right.
So to eliminate that, they 1033 the net, which means that only that person's to talk on that channel. Everybody else goes to an alternate channel.
Right.
So just wanted you guys to understand what that means.
Right. It's for emergency traffic only. And what happened was John T. and Leon, and again, I love Leon to death. He was scared of nothing. I ended up being best man at his wedding, but they were looking for the address of this residence, and they were in the area. When they said, John T. called it in and said 259, which is the code for dispatch. 259, we're in the area, we're looking for the address, give me the address again, and 1033 the net. By this time, I probably was passing hold, and I was probably halfway there, and of course, our units back then were Crown Vics. And the fastest a Crown Vic would run is 128 miles an hour. And that's with a good tailwind. And I don't know why it is, you see the police interceptor, logos on them and all that shit. Well, 128 is as fast as it would go. And I was doing 128, I promise you. But I hear them looking for the address. The net's 1033. I'm monitoring, I'm rolling code. And, then I hear them say, "Oh, I think this is it," and then they go 1097, which means they found the house. And I heard John T. said 259, we're 1097, we're going in. And now remember, they're responding to shots fired and a body was down. So they go in, you don't hear anything from them, and I got in the area and I couldn't find the driveway. And then I heard him, John T. say 259, we got one in custody, send Acadian 1018, which means as fast as you can, send medical. We got one on the ground. And John T. called to me, he said, Woody, when you take the last right before the parish line and go to the stop sign, take a left, and then take an immediate left on the little dirt lane. He said, there's not even a mailbox or anything. So I came sliding through there like Bo and Luke Duke sideways. And this driveway wasn't a driveway. It was like just big craters. It wasn't even a gravel driveway. I remember it because I almost ripped the bottom of my unit off. and hitting those holes. And but you go straight down, you couldn't see the residence. He said, you could come down a ways and then you're going to make a left and you'll see our units. And so I did. And I remember when I made the left, this is what I saw. I saw 3 brand new Jeep, I think the model number's like CJ7s or Wranglers or whatever. Nice 4-wheel drive Jeeps, right? I mean, these are the big jacked up tires and all this. And so I remember seeing the 3 Jeeps and then the Albany Town unit and John T's unit. But they had the spotlights on this big double wide trailer, and it looked like it was a brand new trailer. And I mean, I don't know if they just moved back there or whatever, but I mean, anyway, this is what I'm saying. So I get out and I go running up, and I called, I said 259-1097, and I go running up, and Leon's coming out of the door with a naked lady, with a blanket wrapped around her, and she's in handcuffs, and he's gagging, and he was like, what are you, it's bad, man, it's bad. And I didn't know what he was talking about. He said John T's in there with the victim, and he was kind of like gagging. And so it was a little wooden porch with a couple steps, and I ran past him, and I go in. He said there, and he hollers, there's no lights. So I had my flashlight out, and I hit the door. I go into this hallway, and the smell hits me like a ton of bricks. I'm talking about just caught me with my mouth open, gagged me. It smelled like shit, feces, animals, just the most god awful smell. And I'm like, what the hell? And I hear John T. I can actually see his flashlight at the end of the hallway coming from a room to the right. And I'm going in, and it's just this stuff everywhere. The house is dark, and it's cold, cold, cold. And I run down the hallway, and I turn into the doorway where John T. was, and I look, and there's this lady, she's naked on the ground laying in some blankets, and John T.'s got his hand giving first aid over her chest, and he's holding down on it. He said she's been shot right above her nipple. But at the same time, y'all, this is happening in a matter of seconds. And I'm standing in this doorway, and I hear this loud bam, and it was coming to a doorway that was inside the room. I don't know if it was a closet or I think it was a bathroom inside this bedroom. And the whole door frame shook, and it scared the shit out of me. I drew my pistol, like, faster than I ever have. And I'm like, and it hit the door again, bam. And I almost shot the door. At the same time, shit you not, something flies by my head going, what? And I mean, I hear these feathers and these wings going right by my head. And I almost shot it, whatever it was. I'm like totally on sensory overload. And then the door goes bam again. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on, John T? And the victim's moaning. And he said, man, you won't believe this. Leon and I almost shot each other when we got in here. We made entry into the room. He said there was a huge hog in the room with the women, and he said there's animals all in the houses. Chickens are flying up and down the hallway, and hell, I didn't even know chickens really flew, right? And he said when we got here, the victim was down, the shooter was over her trying to help her, and there's this big 300-pound hog snorting and going around the room. The shooter had to get the hog and lock it in the bathroom. And he said, man, I can't breathe. He said, can you please come over here and take this from me? He said, I got to throw up. He said, I got to go outside. And that's how bad the smell was. So I ran over to where he was. And he took the towel off her shirt. I don't remember what it was, whatever he was using to put the pressure on the wound. And when he took it off and gave it to me, she had a perfect bullet hole right above her left nipple. And, it wasn't an artery that was hit, but it was pulling blood out. I don't know how to explain it, but what I really distinctly remember about it, Jim, was I had a little bit of tattooing on it also, and tattooing, y'all. Jim, explain that. Tattooing around the wound.
I'm sorry, I missed that part.
All right. So what I distinctly remember about it, when I was looking at the wound, it wasn't squirting blood out, but it was like when her heart would pump, it was more blood would come out, but it wasn't a shooter. But there was tattooing or stiffling around the wound, which meant that the gun was close to her. Go ahead.
Like a contact wound.
Yeah. And so what happens, y'all, when you shoot somebody up close, there's gunpowder that comes out with the bullet from the end of the gun. And it actually will burn the skin, or the gunpowder gets embedded in the skin, and it's like a tattoo. It leaves the burn mark. And so I knew it was a contact wound. But what I really remember about it was when the blood's coming out, it was so cold in there that the bullet hole was steaming like Old Faithful, the geyser. There was steam just shooting out of this titty in the dark. And I'm looking at my flashlight. It's just a trip. The whole thing was, right. So anyway, I put pressure to it, and I'm asking her. I said, "What happened?" And she said, "She shot me." And I heard Acadian, the ambulance service, get there, and the dispatch called and said, "Hey, Acadian can't find the residents." So John T. went to the road and guided them in, and the detectives came, and we had to help Acadian get the girl loaded. And again, animals are flying around. There were dogs in the house. You couldn't see anything. We get her loaded up in the ambulance. By that time, the detective got there, and the naked lady, the one that was under arrest, she had the blanket around her, and they were questioning her through the window of the car. And she said that her and her lover were having sex with a pistol, and the hog hit her, and the hog came into the room and hit her, and she accidentally squeezed the trigger and shot her lover. And okay, that's one I never heard before. But when they asked her about, he asked, spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday host and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. About the electricity and the animals or whatever, because the detective had gone in and seen the scene and took photographs of what had gone on. And the lady said, well, we're Wiccas. Or Wiccans, and at the time I didn't know what that. Yeah, at the time I didn't know what that mean. The detective said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, we're witches, and we practice Wiccan, and that doesn't mean they were evil, y'all. That's actually a recognized religion, and it is witchcraft. But their motto is, do harm to none, or whatever you do comes back to you, etc." And she said, I would never hurt her. She said, I'm telling you, it was an accident. We're witches and that, we live with the earth and the animals. And I was thinking, yeah, you live fucking nasty is what you live. I mean, you couldn't even breathe in the place. But long story short, that, naturally, you would expect that she got searched. Yeah, I guess a visual search, because she was butt naked, other than the blanket Leon had put around her before he brought her out. And they transported her to the jail, and we wrapped up the scene, et cetera. And I still had my bad guy at the jail. I had to go book him, and so I went back to the jail. When I got there, and I started booking my guy, and the other girl was in there, and they had put her in a cell. The matron came out of the cell, and that's the lady that runs the front and searches the females, et cetera. And she had a plastic bag, and she held it up, and she said, y'all need to do better searches when you bring your people in. I'm like, John T and I were there, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, this is what she had on her. And she had a big plastic Ziploc bag, and it looked like a big baby pacifier. It was light blue. And it had, like, the bulb on one end, and like what would be the mouth guard. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I said, where'd you get that from? And she said, out of her ass. She said, it's a butt plug. And I'm like, okay, guess I missed that one. A
butterfly butt plug.
Yeah, okay, Jim. The fact that you know the name of it is a butterfly disturbs me. But you're correct. I like to consider myself pretty knowledgeable when it comes to to stuff. But yeah, that is the first time I'd ever seen a butt plug, much less a butterfly butt plug. But anyway, just a trippy story, y'all, to start out 2020, and let you know that I always say that law enforcement is the greatest show on earth. You never know what the hell you're going to see. And the Witches of the Eastside, and by the way, that girl lived, and they ended up dropping charges against the one who did the shooting. I know this because I went back out there years later as the detective. Somebody had broken in and stolen, I don't remember what it was. But when I went that time, they had electricity, but the house still smelled like shit and was full of animals. I'm talking about chickens, cats, dogs, the big hog. Yeah. Who in the hell has a hog in their house? I mean, I don't get it, but it takes all kinds. Yeah, it takes all kinds to make the world go around. But they had plenty of money. That's what tripped me out. It was a nice place and brand new vehicles and all that, but inside, totally different story. But that's it. Go ahead.
And I'm sure a lot of people listening to all this are like, dang, they sure find a lot of stuff in people's asses. No, it's true.
I know.
Like, you don't understand. Like, I'm thinking back on it right now, and I'm like, well, that person had pills in their ass. That person had crack in their ass.
I know.
They're like, stop putting stuff up there, people.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not the place you want to go and find stuff.
Mine is exit only. You're not going to find a butterfly, anything, or crack pipe, or God, we'll tell stories just about. Yeah. Like I said, stuff they found up inside people when we arrest them, but.
I could do stories for hours on stuff found on people. Period. Yeah, just doing searches, like unreal.
Yeah. So y'all, it's Real Life, Real Crime. You're not going to get this kind of content anywhere else. We're unscripted and we're raw, unedited, and we just wanted to put a little story out there before we get into some hotline questions. We know y'all, we've had a lot of responses about how y'all like the stories and that we're different, and we are. But we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Just do. Love y'all. So, Jim, let's do a couple hotline questions and to add to the episode, and I think it's a good idea. Let me tell you about this real quick. I got contacted by the wife of one of our dear friends, and I'm not going to say her name yet because I want it to be a surprise when we do this. And the other night, and I hadn't talked to her in many years, she messaged me and she said, "Woody, I'm listening to the podcast. Somebody told me about it." And she said, "Oh my God, don't you know the stories that I have that I can share with you?" It was about her husband, and her husband was one of her dear friends. He was actually the first guy that I rode with when I was doing my field training for the Livingston Sheriff's Office when I transferred over, and we became friends in uniform, and then we were on the SRT together, et cetera. But he got killed, and I hadn't thought about him in a little bit of something, right? Until I think about it every time I'm on the road that the cemetery's on and he got killed on, et cetera. But it gave me the idea, and I told Jim about it. We have several really good friends that have the law enforcement professionals that were killed or have died since during our career time, and so many stories. And I think we're going to try to do at least one a month. Jim and I came up with this, is telling stories about our fallen buddies. And there's some great ones, y'all. I mean, she and I were going back and forth with stories, and the other night, some that I had just forgotten about, so we're going to be doing some of that to honor our fallen brothers. I think you're going to find it's going to be interesting.
It's necessary. It's interesting. There's some heroic actions that some of these officers have taken and need to be recognized.
Right. And certainly we'll tell you how they got killed. But more importantly, we'll help their memory live on by, some of them are funny stories, just like the one we told today, right? But all the way up to more serious stuff, et cetera. So we're going to start doing that. We're also going to be starting a case with the cooperation of law enforcement. This case is, I don't know, I think it's 12.
I think it's about 12 years old.
Yeah, 12 or 13.
2008, 2009.
It happened right after I left the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office for the Louisiana State Police, and I remember it happened, and it was a big media because of the victim, and we'll get into that at a later date. I don't want to give it away, but I remember thinking, "Oh my God, I'm glad I'm glad I'm not there," because they never found the lady. But we'll get into that to a later date. So we're going to start that story. It's going to be huge. We're going to need you lifers to help us solve it. It's a cold case with no body. And I truly believe we can solve it. And we're going to be working. We got requested numerous times by lifers to do this case, and I told them to contact the sheriff, and they did, and the sheriff reached out, and they want to work with us on it, and they know about the success we've had in the Courtney Coco case, even though they haven't made their arrest yet. We certainly solved it in 7 weeks. So that's coming up, and probably we'll start on in the next couple of weeks. I think we're meeting with them for the first time with the law enforcement this week, and we'll work on that. So y'all can look forward to that. And we need your help bringing it home. It's going to be a good one. So, all right, Jim, you got some questions?
Perfectly said. All right, so I'm going to start out with the first question here. This person wants to remain anonymous, so we will do that. Why are harassment cases so difficult to get something done about? For instance, received 39 calls from an individual in 6 hours. I reported it to the police, even though I blocked the number, keeps calling. The police with a direct quote, they don't want to help. Even the police officer didn't want to take down the info because it was a direct quote here, too much paperwork.
Yeah. Okay.
She went and filed charges on her own, but why is it so difficult?
Right. All right. Well, let's talk about that. First of all, that there is a law against harassing electronic communications, and it's Louisiana Revised Statute 14285. Harassing electronic.
Improper telephone communication.
Well, it's telephone, but they changed it to also to any type of electronic communications because of emails and Facebook and all that shit now. But it's a misdemeanor. But here's the deal on it. Again, in every profession, you have good and bad people, right? And sounds like this person got somebody who really didn't want to be bothered, and that's a shame. If I was working the street and you called me out to make a report about somebody that contacted you 34 times or however many times it was, at the very least, first of all, I'm gonna see the contacts. Are there threats in them? Are they saying they're coming to kill you or rape you or do whatever? If they do, then I'm gonna have you fill me out a statement, and a sworn statement, and sign it. And I'm going to use that as my probable cause, and I'm going to go arrest the person if I can find them, so I can make sure that they're not going to come and kill you or whatever. At the very least, I'm calling this person. I've done this numerous times. I'm calling this person and saying, hey, I would use the victim's phone, and I call and the person would answer, and I would say, hey, this is Detective Overton or Deputy Overton with the sheriff's office. And if you call this person back again, I'm coming to get you, and you're going to be leaving with me, taking a ride with me, and you'll be in handcuffs. All right. And most of the time that would take care of it. A lot of times it's just prank calling or, they weren't making threats. Right. So, but I would have done that at the very least. But if there weren't any physical threats being made, et cetera, that I'm coming to do this, et cetera, I would have called them. If they told me F you, and they've done that before. I actually called them and said, this is Deputy Overton. You've called 34 times. If you call again, I'm coming to get you. And it'd be like, fuck you, pig, come and get me. And then guess what? We went and got him. And, it's a case by case situation. It sounds like that this person got somebody who just didn't give a flip and didn't want to do another report. And unfortunately that happens, just like in the Jana Pell case. She tried to file charges, and I don't know who it was that she went, I don't know who it was that she tried to make the report with. And that person talked her out of the charges the week before she got killed. And they just told us, oh, no, you don't want to do this. And it's going to get back to him. And it's going to be a he said, she said, and the charges aren't going to stick. And he could turn around and file charges on you. And she was like, file charges on me for what? But basically that cop was passing the buck. They didn't want to do their damn job. So I don't know. Your thoughts, Jim?
I agree with you. I used to call a lot of times from the person's phone and tell them flat out, if you call again, I'm coming And I would sometimes they would say fine, it would end it. Other times they would just keep doing it. I've been cursed out before, which now you gave me an added interest to come find you, which was always fun.
Yeah.
And I always went through with my promises. So if I told you I was going to arrest you if you did it again, and you cursed me out and then did it again, I was knocking on your door a short time later.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it depends on what kind of officer or deputy you get on the call. Some of them take every call as serious as they should. I mean, I think every call is important. And one of the things I learned in the beginning of my law enforcement career from the great Willie Graves was that every call is important.
That's right.
And
That's
even
right.
if the call seems to be insignificant to other calls that are out there, you make sure that person you're dealing with feels like that call that you're on is the most important
thing ever. You know, I could see Willie's telling me that right now in his office when I got hired. The same thing. Go ahead.
Yep. And I agree with that. And it's proven to be effective because you work for the people. You work for those, those that reside in your parish or in your town or city. And, you want to have a good relationship with the public. Give them your all and make them feel important, make them feel heard. And, so going the extra step sometimes can really do a lot of good. And unfortunately, you got one of those that just didn't want to put forth the extra effort, but it doesn't mean that all the law officers are like that.
Hey, let me say this too, that if you're out there and you call a deputy out or an officer out to make a report and you're not satisfied with with the results, you can always ask to speak to their supervisor. Okay. And will that upset them? Probably. But guess what? You have that right. If you're not satisfied, ask to speak to their supervisor. And if the supervisor tells you the same thing, then, you could go, go ahead.
Keep it within reason though. And I say this before we move on from this question on to another one. Keep it within reason. And what I mean by that is I have literally had people ask me when I've gone to their house for a trash can from Waste Management being stolen or maybe at another neighbor's house, want me to take a cast molding of a shoe print. All right. Now think about that for a minute. The cast molding would cost, all the process would cost hundreds of dollars more than what the trash can is, when all we do is give you a file number and they drop off a new trash can for you. So just keep it within reason.
Well, yeah. I should have said that. I'm thinking y'all, it just made a story pop in my mind. And you're right. You should keep it in within reason. I'll tell you this one, I guess I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. I got called out on one, it was a residential burglary. And it was a daytime thing, but it wasn't a burglary. I think the person was saying their prescription medicine had been stolen and it had just been filled. But this person had done this like 3 times before. And so what happened is they get their new prescription in and they either take it all or they sell it all. And the only way they could get the refill from the doctor again is to get a police report saying that their medicine had been stolen. And this, I literally had taken this report from this person before and they were an asshole. So I go back out there. It's the same person, same situation. And she's like, they broke in and There was no signs of forced entry. And I'm thinking, I know this. You're a frequent flyer. You do this every other month. And, I had her write out a statement. I was taken and she said, you're not going to even dust for fingerprints? I said, really? And she said, yeah. I said, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. You know what? I'll dust for fingerprints. Now, y'all, back then, the fingerprint dust, this before they had the magnetic kind and all that. If you put that stuff out, it's almost impossible to get off. And, so I went in with a brand new thing of fingerprint dust and I dusted the whole inside of the apartment. I'm talking about I covered the walls. I covered light switches. I covered the hallways. I mean, I painted until I literally ran out of fingerprint dust to teach her a lesson. And she was like, what are you doing? I said, you wanted fingerprints done and I'm going to give you your proper service. But she never called me back out, to make another report about pills. More than one way to skin a
That
cat.
fingerprint dust, man, that stuff gets everywhere. It's
That's
like you put
horrible.
it on the car outside, and like 6 hours later, it's in the baby's diaper. You know,
Yes,
what's
indeed.
happening?
It's like sand from the beach, right? But you can't get it off. But anyway, I probably shouldn't have done that. But oh well. All
We're
right,
gonna move on to another question,
go ahead,
buddy.
go ahead.
All right, you ready?
Yeah,
So this is from Charlene in Ireland. She says, thank you
Ireland.
both for an outstanding podcast and your passionate quest for justice. Her question is, what made or reinforced your decision to go into the field of law enforcement?
Oh, from Ireland. Thanks for the question. All I ever wanted to do was be a cop, and I can't explain that. I mean, that's all I ever want to do. Everybody else, all my brothers and sisters are lawyers. My parents are lawyers, and my whole family are lawyers. But I didn't want to sit behind the same desk every day and push paperwork. Right? I want the excitement of being a cop. I've always wanted to be a cop, and the criminal mind fascinated me, and that's it. I mean, of course, I was really bad when I was young. And so, but anyway, I wanted to be a cop, and that's it. And I love the lifestyle. I love the show, meaning you never knew what you were going to get from 1 minute to the next. You might be out on a shooting 1 minute, you might be in a vehicle pursuit, and 20 minutes later, or whatever. So, what about you, Jim?
Yeah, so there's a few things. One, I've always been the guy that's driven by adrenaline. I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I'm also that guy in sports that wants that ball to take that last shot or to get that last catch or whatever. That is me. I like that kind of stuff. Law enforcement provides that.
Right.
Every day, all day, right on the, just go. Like, I love that. But there are two things specifically that happened in my younger life that turned me towards law enforcement. One, I have an older brother that I love dearly, and he and I are super close. And I was always so proud and honored to watch him play football. And he played it for LSU as well as a quarterback. And they played in Shreveport, Louisiana against Notre Dame in 1997. And I remember going out there with my father to watch that game.
Hey, I went to that game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was cold, it sleeted.
Yeah.
And we beat Notre Dame, so, go Tigers. But my dad and I decided to spend 2 days in Dallas after that. And I walked through downtown Dallas where JFK was assassinated, so Daily Plaza and School Book Depository. And I walked through all that stuff, and I was absolutely fascinated. And that actually kind of drove for my future life in Secret Service. But that was kind of what kick-started everything in law enforcement, getting my brain going that way. The second thing was about 2 months after that trip, my father had moved into a new residence in Florida where we lived, and just north of Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
And somebody tried to burglarize the house. And, when I ended up just seeing where the screen was cut, and I looked down to see where the reflection was coming and where the shoe prints could be, and, just doing all those things. And I was feeling inspired. Well, the officer that responded that day, I just remember his last name was Burke, Officer Burke. And I'll never forget it. It's like Willie Graves used to say, you always make that person feel like it's the most important call you ever own.
Right.
And this guy literally made me feel like I was the most important person. My father was gone at work, and he literally just sat there with me, explaining everything he was doing, why he was doing it. And then he promised me, look, when I come by and I'm patrolling through, I'm gonna hit you with my little spotlight on your window. That way you know that I'm coming through.
Awesome.
And it was those little things right there. Like, he didn't have to do that, but he just took that extra step. And I'm gonna tell you what, for a couple of days when he came by, he shined that little light.
Right.
And I hit the house, and I knew he was around.
Yeah.
And it made me feel better.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I had law enforcement in my blood, and I'm like, my God, I'm gonna do this job.
Awesome.
And that's what did it for me.
Yeah. Awesome. So and I always try to, go out of my way to leave a positive touch, or on the people, on families and stuff like that, right? Not the person that I fingerprinted their whole house, but I get what you're saying. So cool story.
So here's another question here from Melanie. It is, How were Denny Perkins and his wife, Cynthia Perkins, caught? Did a victim come forward? What initiated the investigation? And I'm going to let you handle that part.
All right. So, Melanie, is it? I was told that the Attorney General's office, and they do a lot of undercover work on these child sex predators and child porn, et cetera. And I was told that during one of their investigations where they act as a person that wants to trade porn with other people, during one of those investigations, it came to light that either somebody recognized Denny or Cynthia or whatever, or some part of it, and them as being a public figure, if you will, and that's what kickstarted the investigation. Now, I believe that's the truth. I don't know what the details are, if it was Denny screwing the dog or whatever, or one of the cops recognized Denny. Now, you have to remember, Denny had been in law enforcement a long time, and a lot of times the Attorney General's office come out, it's serve high risk search warrants and stuff on these child predators, and it would be Denny that would be leading the SRT team to do it. So I think it was probably one of the investigators saw Denny in one of the photos, and that's what kicked it off.
Perfect. All right. So here is another question from Melissa. She actually has two questions here. I'll start with the first one. If someone's incarcerated and they're being checked via GPS from a court order, if they go missing, how long does it take for the sheriff's office to know that the person is missing? Who monitors that information?
All right. So there's different ones to this, but since she said sheriff's office, I'll just address the sheriff's office in the court. The sheriff's office will not be monitoring that ban. What happens is, if a judge places you on house arrest and they give, it may not be total house arrest. You may be allowed to leave to go to work or whatever, but you have a certain time you have to be back home. Actually, the court hires out independent companies that will come out, and you have to, the bad guy has to pay the fee. That's part of their release. They come out and they put the bracelet on you and they monitor it. And, if you're not in the right location or whatever, they get an alert, or if they call and you don't answer the phone, whatever it may be, they get an alert. And, if you're a murderer or something, then certainly they're going to kick it up a notch. But a lot of them are people that are on house arrest for nonviolent crimes like burglary or DWI or something like that. So generally what will happen is the company will call the court's probation officer. And now the court has somebody, the judge will have assigned that person, that bad guy, a probation officer to monitor their probation or whatever, monitor them to their trial or their hearing. And the company will notify that probation officer, and that's up to them to decide. They'll tell the judge, and the judge will issue a warrant for their arrest, and they'll go get them. Again, it's going to be on a case by case basis, depending on the severity of the charge and stuff like that. So now,
good answer.
If they're on parole, that's a different monster. If they're on parole, and part of it, the parole is house arrest, and this actually the state of Louisiana Department of Corrections, their parole officer will be notified. And again, it's up to their discretion as to when they go. Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Mochi. Mochi is a telehealth platform that connects patients seeking medication-based weight loss treatment with board-certified doctors and dietitians to help them determine the best treatment options to accomplish that goal. Mochi's program is completely virtual, meaning you can access their services anywhere in the United States, and you will be meeting with their team online. You deserve doctors that listen. Mochi is dedicated to providing holistic, patient-centered care that prioritizes overall well-being with the goal of transforming how weight management is approached. Mochi Health takes a holistic approach to weight loss that includes visit with board-certified doctors, nutrition consultations, and medications delivered to your door. Science-backed medications including GLP-1s like Ozempic and generic compound versions, affordable and accessible, regardless of insurance coverage. With Mochi, their dietitians work hand in hand with your medication to create personalized nutrition plans that fit your lifestyle. Reach your weight loss goals with science-backed, FDA-approved GLP-1 medications and support from real doctors and guidance from registered dietitians and help with making easy and sustainable changes to achieve results. Y'all have seen this. My wife has done it. My brother-in-law has done it. One of my best friends is doing it. And it really is an amazing process that works. So get started at joinmochi.com and use code RLRC to receive $40 off. That's joinmochi.com and use code RLRC to receive $40 off and let Mochi help change your life. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something. All the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Get them.
Good answer, Woody. I like it.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, so here I've gotten this question a few times, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do this one time. In the case of Denny Perkins and Cynthia Perkins, how is the handling of the videos? How are the videos being handled by the Attorney General's office and the Sheriff's office? Can any detective see it? Is it a complete free-for-all? Or how is that being handled for evidence-wise?
That is an excellent question, and it's very, very simple and straightforward answer, and most people don't realize this. Due to the fact that children are involved and it's child porn, it's kept under lock and key. Nobody's going to get to see it except for the investigators and the defense attorneys. Now, here's what's different between the child case and an adult case. In an adult case, the prosecution has to turn over all evidence, video, photographs, et cetera, to the defense team, and they, can take their time and hire experts and pick it apart and all that, and they'll have it in their possession. On a child porn case, they can't do that. These defense attorneys won't even have access to the videos and stuff like that unless they go to the Attorney General's office and they watch it under lock and key. It's like, that's due to the sensitivity of the case and the victims and all that. So they haven't even seen it, or at least their last press conference when the one attorney was saying, "Oh, they're treating Denny like an animal. He's locked up 24 hours a day." And Denny says this didn't happen, that didn't happen. Well, this asshole hadn't even seen the video yet, or videos, et cetera. And he just got hired and just got on the case. I can assure you, Denny's other attorney that wanted off the case probably made that trip to the Attorney General's office and saw all the horrible shit and was like, fuck that, I'm not doing this. And they couldn't agree upon his defense. But nobody can see it once the case is over and it's been adjudicated. It'll be that you won't be able to get that evidence through a public information request. It will never be made public. So the long or the short of it is, no one gets to see it except for the defense attorneys. And when the defense attorneys get to see it, they don't even get copies of it. They have to watch it inside the building under the watchful eye of law enforcement. The end.
Yeah, and have worked cases before federally, and so on. When there is a case like this, and you get local law enforcement to assist from whether they, and I don't know this for sure, but if they had anybody from Livingston Sheriff's Office working with the AG's office on this, if anyone from that sheriff's office is going to see that video, same rules apply. They're going to watch it with the Attorney General's investigators. It's just like any other evidence. If someone comes in and needs to see that, defense attorney comes in to see that, it's logged. They know who watched this video and when.
That's right.
And now it was placed back, put back, and whatever the case might be. But it is under lock and key. That is not getting out for the public. I can guarantee the Attorney General's office does a hell of a job in making sure that these victims will never get identified.
That's right. That's right.
And that's their goal. The Sheriff's Office does it very well. And all the areas that I'm familiar with do it extremely well.
Yeah.
So it's not getting out there. Nobody can just go and watch it. No random deputy can go and watch it. If they sit there saying they saw it, they're full of shit.
Right.
So it is under complete lock and key.
Yep. And that is correct. That's it. So Jim, I think we'll stop right there unless you got a burden. Well, I have a bunch. Also, we're hitting the hour mark, and we have a few more things we want to talk about. Do you have one more you want to do, or?
Yeah, let's do one more. This was a good question. The question is from Cynthia, and the question is: everyone has mentors in their career. Who has been your biggest mentor or mentors in your law enforcement careers? If you want to take a step that one.
1,000,000,000%. Mine was Mr. Kearney Foster. And y'all, Kearney Foster was the chief deputy for not only certainly when Willie was in office, and then but he was head of the detectives when Willie's daddy was in office, and Willie was the chief deputy. But I transferred into Livingston. I'll tell that story one day. Why I wasn't from Livingston Parish. I didn't know anybody. Everybody was scared to death of Mr. Kearney, and he was a hard ass, no doubt about it. But he was fair. But I mean, he knew so much, especially about investigations and everything, and also the politics side of it. But people were scared to death of him, and I started in uniform patrol. And one of the advantages I had was I didn't know the politics of the parish. I didn't know, all the famous last names, the Wheats and the Whites and the whatever, the who was politically connected and who wasn't. I arrested indiscriminately. and people would be, I can tell you so many times I'd be arresting somebody and hauling them out the door, and they're like, call Mr. Kearney, call Mr. Kearney. And hell, they, by the time I got to the jail, they were released. The Kearney had called up and released them, but it didn't matter. Or call Willie, same situation. But I arrested everybody indiscriminately. I made the detective super, super fast. Like, I don't want to say it was unheard of time, but it pretty much was. But not because I knew anybody there or a brother-in-law situation. It was because of cases I made on the street. Now, that being said, I ended up on what we call the carpet a lot of times on Monday morning. And I would leave after we worked a long weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, I would leave my phone on when I got home Monday morning, because I knew when Kearney got to the office, I was going to get it, called in because somebody called and complaining on me about something, because I was out there arresting more people than anybody else was every night. So natural people are going to complain. But he would call me on the carpet, and if I was wrong, he'd eat my ass. I mean, he'd tear me up, but he'd teach me a lesson. He never had to call me back for the same thing twice. But if I wasn't wrong, then he would have the complainants in there, and he'd take care of that also. But I learned so much from the man. He was such the ultimate professional, cool, collected, and I know he's the reason I made detectives so fast. And when I got into detectives, I really, all I wanted to work was narcotics. But I opened and came up in general detectives first, and he got me there. And once I started doing that, then working the cases where I was putting what I call good bad guys away. When people that are still in prison today, or got my first life sentence on someone, and realize that it really is a death sentence, because in the state of Louisiana, life means life. I mean, they're going to die in prison, and there's no parole, no chance of parole, et cetera. And so once I started working those kind of cases, that's all I wanted to do. But Mr. Kearney was always the one. I mean, just taught me so much. I try to model myself after him. I mean, there's a lot of people that taught me things. Like if it would be uniform patrol, I'd say Alden Thomasy, or different people that I gleaned certain things that they did from, and adapted them to my own, Chuck Watts, and different things, Stan Carpenter. But the ultimate one, Kearney Foster. And I probably going to catch some flack for that. I mean, after Kearney retired from Livingston, when Sheriff Edwards took over in Tangipahoa, they had a bit of a mess going on over there, and he brought Kearney on as chief to straighten it out. I mean, Kearney was that good, but he was good in all areas. And now there's a case we're going to be covering in the future. There's a big stink going on, and some people saying some stuff about Mr. Kearney and the DA and all that, and that's going to be a public deal that we'll be covering. But absolutely the best I ever saw ever in Kearney Foster for me. I'm sorry for running off so long, but I feel passionately about the man. Oh, he's also the one that got me to be a polygraph, the first polygraphist for the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office. They've been trying to get one for like 20 years, they said, and the sheriffs never would do it. And Mr. Kearney got that pushed through for me. So I owe him that also. But that's it.
Yeah, he was definitely a legend.
Yeah.
For me, there's a few people involved in this. Many don't know, when I first started my law enforcement career, I actually was a very short time before coming to the sheriff's office, started out in Baker. And there's a few people out there that are just always going to be close to me. It's unfortunate we haven't talked as much over the years, but have really molded me in ways that actually saved my life at the sheriff's office in multiple occasions. But a few of those is Shannon Hilaire, who currently works out there in Baton Rouge. His son is actually the famous running back at LSU, Clyde.
Really?
And Shannon, I'm going to tell you, he was a Marine. He was always in shape, always taught me everything. It was like a father looking after a son, man. I'm going to tell you, like he was tough on me, but it was that tough love.
Right.
He's going to make sure if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right.
Right.
And my God, I love you, Shannon. Hopefully you hear this. A couple of others that were out there, Jason Shows, Showman. I love him, dude. He always made sure and made me think about what I was doing. Like Alfred, he would walk me through step by step. Like, why did you do this? What made you think this? What did you think about this? And he really just taught me a shit ton about law enforcement and looking at scenes and just he was awesome. And then another one is Jason Ransom. I think he was on a TV show one time. Jason Handsome Ransom is what they called him. He was also Marine. And I'm going to tell you, he made me an even better shooter, but he was all about tactics. And so he would make me think tactically about certain, and even though I had the military, he did too. And he made me better. So those three guys together, man, love you three.
Cool.
Think about you, pray for y'all all the darn time. And I'm going to be reaching out to all three of you. When I came over to the sheriff's office, Mike Irwin.
Yeah, Mike's
he's
awesome.
one. He just was great. Mike taught me how to drive.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't know how, but I'm going to tell you, Mike had a way about
that dude
how to take corners, how to really press it to get there, but to do it in the right way.
Right.
There's a lot of things he did. He was a great supervisor.
He was, yeah.
But at the sheriff's office, I have to say that the number one person for me has always been you, Woody, because you took me under your wing from day one when we became friends and we worked together. And, like you always say, yin to the yang. And I don't think there's a case out there we couldn't solve together. But you taught me what you've learned from Kearney, what you've learned over the years, and you molded me. And that still carries with me today. And, there's a few others that I love very much that have helped me out a lot. Calvin Bowden, Jason Ord, Alden Thomason. I could go on and on and on, but in the detective division, I definitely will say that Woody really molded who I am. So thank you, brother.
I appreciate it, man. And I guess like Kearney saw that he could mold me and saw something in me that I saw the same thing in you. From the very first time that I met you or saw you when you became the hitman. I said, that boy's got some style when you knocked the shit out of RC. That was our first initial foray into battle, if you will. But you rose as a detective quick, just like I did, coming from the outside. But you did it just like I did, based off of your work ethic.
Good in cases.
That's it. And but I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me. So, but we have a lot more questions and stuff, and so maybe we'll, every 4 or 5 weeks we'll do a mini episode with hotline questions. We appreciate y'all's questions, and patron members, if we didn't get to your questions today, I apologize. But we love y'all and we appreciate you. We appreciate all of our listeners. If you can't be a patron, we totally get it. And, just please continue to like us and share us and tell people about us. And, it's just been amazing what y'all have done. We have some really big news. I want to talk about one thing first. Our new website, y'all, is up. And we met this guy, by chance. Literally, he's a lifer, and it seems like, Jim, that we get hooked up with so many great people like Toby and Shelly, because they were fans. Shelly was a fan, and then Toby ended up doing our music, right? And and it's the same thing. Clint with it's Black Sheep Creative, right? That the Clint and his business partner Alec from Black, and it's BLAK sheepcreative.com, all one word. He reached out to us and he was like, "Hey, love the show. Was looking at y'all's website. That's what they do, website design and all that." And man, they went in and did it, and it is something to see. Y'all got to go check it out. www.realliferealcrime.com. And it has Jim and I's bios, and it just has everything. Oh, there's a 24/7 store open now with tons of merchandise in it. And when you order now, it's no longer be ordering, and my wife gets the order and then we have to order it or get the order filled and then ship it out. This stuff's instant. And so all that's been streamlined. All the episodes are on there. What else, Jim? It's just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Clint, you're fantastic, man. You and Alec have just done great work with this. For those that need a website for your business, definitely reach out to them. They can get you all the analytics you want as well. If you need to do search engine optimizations, pay-per-clicks, you want to know what your demographics are, who your best. I mean, they can literally track everything that comes through. Who, what's the median age range that's clicking on your website, household incomes. I mean, you name it, they can do it. Really did a stand-up job with that, and I appreciate both of you very much for doing it. And here's an added bonus, and I'm going to say thank you to both of them because they're both veterans.
That's right.
Veteran 101st Airborne, a sniper. The other one was a medic.
That's right.
So you're supporting a veteran-run business also.
That's right.
So if that's something that's big for you, that's another thing to look at. Thank you both very much. Done a hell of a job. Looking forward to keep working with you guys.
We actually have hired them to run our website. Now, before we had created the website and we were with some big national company. If you had a problem, you had to submit a ticket and all this stuff. These guys are actually going to be running our website. We will never have an issue where we can't get them on the phone and whatever, but they're going to be running it every day, making sure things are going smooth. But really, y'all, it's just some really cool stuff on there. Go check it out. I mean, I had no idea something could look so good and be so professional. So it's totally redone. Black Sheep Creative. Look them up. They're awesome and they rock. So let's talk about and this will be the last thing, y'all, and I hope you're still listening because you're going to miss out if you're not. Jim, do you have anything else you want to talk about before I get to this?
No. Go right ahead, buddy. I'm excited to do that.
All right. So last year on February 9th, 2019, I launched the first episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast on February 9th. And so this year, our anniversary is coming up in just over a month and a couple of days. And we are also going to be passing 1 million downloads before our anniversary on February 9th. And in February, Mardi Gras. If you're not from South Louisiana or you're not from Louisiana, you don't know what it is. It's a month-long celebration before Lent begins. So Mardi Gras is at the end of February. And we want to do something special. Y'all know we have our live shows coming up at the Livingston Parish Literacy and Technology Center. We had 2 nights originally and they sold out in 24 hours. And, so we added another night and it sold out quick also. And we've been getting a lot of, requests to do more live shows. People couldn't get tickets to those shows or they couldn't get off or whatever, et cetera. So we came up with the idea of throwing a birthday party for Real Life, Real Crime and the crew members. And in the crew, y'all, if you're not from South Louisiana, you're not familiar with it, but KREWE, that's a play on it. It's a Mardi Gras term. It's a play on the regular word CREW, but that's why we always use crew. So we're going to throw the first annual Real Life, Real Crime Crew Bash on February 15th. It's a Saturday night at the Basin on 3rd Street in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Jim and I are going to do a live show, a live podcast. It's going to be on a murder case that you've never heard about before. Now that Friday night is Valentine's on the 14th, right? And so this is going to be a case that has something to do with that realm, and I'm not going to give it up, but we're going to do a live kick-ass show, a podcast. The Basin is an awesome venue. All the big bands play there, and it's a big place, and it'll have open bar and all that. The tickets are going to be $35. We're going to put them on sale today. When you hear this, the tickets will be on sale on Eventbrite, and the links will be on all our social media, etc. But not only are we going to do a live podcast, but we have Tom Play, which is Toby and Shelly Tom Play, and their full band. I think it had like 6 members in the band, are going to play a concert for and right when we get done with the podcast. So it'll go till they kick us out at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's going to be a hell of a party. We're gonna do our live, and then we'll get to hang out with y'all all night, drink, cut up, take pictures, dance, do whatever, have a Mardi Gras good time, celebrating our birthday, celebrating 1 million downloads, celebrating winning the 2019 podcast of the year for drama and storytelling. We got a lot to celebrate, a lot to be thankful for, and we're gonna laissez le bon temps rouler. We're gonna let the good times roll for a Mardi Gras crew party. Jim?
Yeah, simply, here it is for you. Woody and Jim doing a live show, the great music of Toby and Shelly Tom Play, party and atmosphere, drinks, fun, pictures, socializing, all of it. We're just going to throw it down. It's going to be a hell of a time, and we're going to do it for hours.
Yeah.
So come on out, have some fun. We want to meet you. We want to interact with you. We want to hang with you. We want to do drinks with you. We'll do it all. So we're going to have a hell of a time.
It's going to
make it a hell of a weekend.
It's going to get crazy. I can tell you that. We like to have fun. But y'all, you got to get your tickets while they last. There's only a certain amount of them. We're not going to be able to, get anybody else in, past the ticket number. And we've shown y'all in the past when we were sold out the 3 nights so fast. So those of you who didn't get it, and those of you who did get the tickets, this is going to be a totally different atmosphere for the live show, because it's going to be alcohol is going to be served. It's going to be a new case. It's not going to be the ones you hear in January in Walker. It's going to be a more of an adult case. It's going to be pretty graphic with some stuff in it, so get your tickets, man, and come party with us. And it's going to be awesome. And we're going to do this every year on our anniversary. That's why we're calling it the first annual, Crew Bash. So there it is. You heard it here first. Go look it up. We're going to be doing video posts and everything. The links will be on the social media. What else, Jim?
It'll be advertised everywhere. Hey, come follow us on Real Life Real Crime on Instagram. You can follow Real Life Real Crime or Jim_Rathman or Overton Woody. That's what we've got for Instagram. We got a YouTube channel that we're putting together. Should be up and running here hopefully by mid-January, give or take.
Right.
That's going to be really cool. We'll explain that a little bit later on. We have our Facebook page. We have that crew page, KREWE. Come on to that. You just click on it. It'll send an invite. You'll get accepted by one of our wonderful Dream Team moderators.
Love the Dream Team.
We talk all about crime stuff on there. There's a lot of updates on there. It's a lot of fun. Woody and I enjoy this. We spend hours a day interacting with everybody, so I promise you we will interact with you at some point, sometimes all the time. It just depends. But we will interact with everyone. It's great. We also have a Lanyap page, so if you want to promote something you sell, your business, or throw some off-the-wall stuff on there, that's what the Lanyap page is for. Yeah. The crew page is going to specifically be crime-related. But come on there. Join us on those pages to get all the updates. You can literally know everything that's going on. And follow us on Instagram. It's going to be on there as well. And we'll let you know when the YouTube's out. And come on over to that, because that's going to be really interactive as well.
Yeah, and real quick, the one new one to add is the Bookem Club that's started by our Dream Team moderators. They pick one book at a time, true crime book, and they read it, and they give the members X amount of time to read it, and they actually get on there and discuss it on that page. So that's pretty interesting. And I know they're getting ready to start the discussion on the first book. So y'all check them out also. So I guess that's it, my brother.
That's it.
I appreciate y'all listening. Hey, we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Tickets go on sale right now. If you're hearing this, I hope you hear it early. But tickets go on sale today. And we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. God bless you. Jim?
Hey, again, we appreciate all of you. Look forward to seeing you guys at the live at the end of January and this awesome show that we're going to have also in February. And we'll see you then.
Yeah, the February party is going to be legendary. But anyway, we appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thank you. And until next time or ever, don't let us catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, real life, real crime listeners. I'm Keith Sharon, the host of Crime Beat, produced by the Southern California News Group. We do a deep dive narrative podcast about a fascinating true crime case. Currently, we're in the middle of season 2, which we call Mom vs. Murderer. It's the story of a 20-year-old honors student named Kathy Torres, who never came home after working a Saturday night shift in the photo department at Save-On. In this podcast, we'll take you behind the scenes in Kathy's mother's 2+ decade pursuit of justice. Season 1 of Crime Beat was about the biggest bank heist in the history of the United States. That case was the inspiration for the 2019 movie Finding Steve McQueen, starring Forrest Whitaker, Travis Fimmel, and Rachel Taylor. So check out Crime Beat if you really want to sink your teeth into a good story.
Get ready, you're gonna do time. Real life, real crime.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.